The draft is over. They picked up some couple two-way players as well. But now is all about free agency.
Mm-hmm.
What is Daryl Morey and the 76ers going to do? We'll talk about that and more next on Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Hi, my name is Keith Pompey, and this is my right-hand man, John Mitchell. We are the co-hosts of Locked On 76ers. We got a lot to talk to y'all about today. Now, yes, we're going to talk about the draft. We're going to talk about the guys that they picked up there. We're going to talk about the two-way contracts that they agreed upon with other people. But the time is now.
Mm-hmm.
The time is now to talk about free agency and what Daryl Morey has to do to make this team relevant. So we're going to kick that off first. Mitch, I'm telling you, bro, these last 2 days or the previous 2 days been kind of crazy, like a 2-day draft. But now, man, the guys that they got, they're good.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to make a difference in regards to winning the championship. And the guys that they need to get to win a championship is now. And in your eyes, is Daryl Morey on the hot seat? Not really. I mean, he signed a contract, but let's just say, how vital is this for Daryl Morey to do something? And have you been pleased with what he's done thus far since he's been here in regards to free agency?
Well, Keith, man, Samuel L. Jackson's one of my favorite actors. And one of my favorite movies is Do the Right Thing. And I love that scene beginning where it's 1,000 degrees outside and he does that roll call as a DJ and he calls out people from John Coltrane to the great Stevie Wonder to the great Melly Mel. Well, let's play a little roll call with Daryl Morey. Let's do his roll call. Danny Green, George Niang, Andre Drummond, James Harden, Daniel House, P.J. Tucker, Patrick Beverly, Mo Bamba, Paul Reed, Montrell, whatever his name is, Harrell. There it is. And
You missed one. They also got George Hill
how can you know what?
and
How,
and uh and Bradley.
how
This
could I
is
overlook
yeah.
such elite talents that this general manager has brought through here in these 3 years? Keith, it's time, man. Enough is enough. I mean, I don't know, is the Sloan MIT conference going on, and is he putting more emphasis on that than he is on getting the 76ers roster ready? I mean, we're sitting here and we're watching everything take shape. We've gone from a team that, couldn't get out of the second round to now a 76ers team that is pretty much, hoping to hold on to the third spot in the division. And my whole feeling with this guy Daryl Morey is it's time for the cloak and mirrors to stop. It's time. It's time for him to do something. I mean, I don't want to hear all this stuff about uh, Paul George is now looking at Golden State and that aging and decrepit roster they have up there. You mean to tell me that as we begin free agency, you have Joel Embiid, arguably the most talented player in the league, and you're in the fifth largest market in the league, and you can't be an anchor. You can't attract some real serious talent to get this thing right. You're going to be a pedestrian and sit there and watch the Knicks get better. You're going to sit there and watch everybody beat you to the trades that you need to make. Listen, he's on Front Street right now, man. I think that this guy has been able to hide behind some things. And this is his moment. How long? Not long. Now is the time, bro. It's time for him to step up. I don't know, maybe he needs to shave the beard, maybe the beard to make him look like he's in better fighting trim or something or whatever. Get the beard off the face and get out there and get this city some goddamn free agents, man. It's time. It's time. Build a championship team. There's two players in the history of the NBA that have scored 80 points or more, and they're both from Philadelphia. And you can't. This is a basketball city, and if you can't build a squad here, we don't really need you. Go get to work, man. Get to work. That's how we talk in Philly. We're not gonna sit here and do the kitty cat petting your head like they did in places like Houston and let you hide behind James Harden. Now is the time for you to do something, bro. That's my feelings right now. I'm sick of watching the New York Knicks and other teams, the Boston Celtics building powerhouses, and here we are. You know, I mean, look at those cities. New York used to put out basketball players; they put out dogs now. Nobody from New York City becomes a great player in the NBA anymore. They don't even do anything in college. And Boston puts out nothing. You know, this is a basketball city, probably the preeminent basketball city on the face of the earth. And you've been bringing this city slop. That's my rant.
I don't know what to say after that.
Help him out, Keith. Tell the people he speaks at the Sloan MIT Analytics Convention. Help him out. Lift him up. Him up. I'm serious, man.
No, I can tell. It sounded like you had a lot of conviction. But here's the deal. The problem is, I think, the problem is when he came here, it was supposed to be the Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
It was the guy, like they wanted Hinkie. They wanted him before they got Hinkie. And he came and, I think, like I was talking to someone yesterday, and I think that the thing about Philadelphia is a very knowledgeable city. And I know the Eagles run the show when it comes down to pro sports. But to me, this is a basketball city. Like you talked about players who came here. You talk about that played here. Excuse me. You talk about the level of the high school teams, how they've been traditionally. You talk about the college Big Five, this and that. It's a basketball city. Basketball town. So the fans here are extremely knowledgeable, and they were there rightfully so impatient. The last time this city won a championship was 83. The last time the 76ers went to the finals was 2001. Mm-hmm. So, a lot of the old heads and the historians are like, what's going on? And so I get it. I understand. And then not only that, it's like to a point where we keep thinking that something's going to happen in off-season free agency. Mm-hmm. And nothing happens. And then you look and you see the other teams getting better. I mean, right now, you have to honestly say that although Daryl Morey feels like they got the second best team in the East, or they had, I mean, I don't know if they're the fourth best team or fifth best team in the East. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I know what the Indiana Pacers have.
Right.
I know what the New York Knicks have, right? I know once the Milwaukee Bucks stars get healthy, they're probably going to play better.
Dame ain't playing no D.
He's not playing D, but at the same time, he's not playing D. But you got to believe that they're going to try to get somebody in there that's going to help them play D.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it is what it is. So, my thing is we put it this way. There are a couple free agents that the 76ers could get or that could help them out.
Yeah, they're there.
They're there, but I don't think. I think they're going to get one, but I think it's not going to be on that top level because number one is Bronny just got drafted, right? So that's over. That's over. Paul George is either he's playing everybody or he's playing everybody or he's definitely going to stay in the West Coast. Mm-hmm. So that's another one. And then the third one is Jimmy Butler, who's not leaving Miami, it appears. So outside of that, like, who are some players you think can elevate them to get them to play to win? Like, you know what I mean? I don't see it. I just see it. So I mean, it's just a lot. It's just a lot. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, Mitch. It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's definitely a lot.
They have arrived at this golden time in their free agency history with a Powerball's worth of money, and poof, right now, whiff, nothing.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. And I would love for Daryl Morey to come for this to come back and prove me wrong. But until now, let's call a spade a spade. We can talk about that a little bit more after we finish talking about game time. Man, it's the MLB season is here. The Phillies are playing some of the best ball, even though they, lost to a team last night today. You don't expect them to lose. But listen, getting tickets is not always the easiest thing in the world to do. But with game time, you can definitely go out there and you can get good seats, good tickets, and that's what you got to do. You can get last minute tickets, you can get flash deals, you can get zone deals, easy to find and buy MLB tickets of every kind of event you want in your area. And you can view all the seats before you purchase them. And you know what? You're guaranteed to find the lowest prices at game time. You can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, everything. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Get on down to the Citizens Bank Park and watch the Phils do their thing, a team that is aggressively building for the future and for the present. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. Do it today, people. Listen, tell me, you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Screaming, shouting, screaming. Sound like a bad church service. You sometimes have to turn down the volume with all that shouting. Well, make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming, hollering. Locked On Sports today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single solitary day.
Yeah, man. A lot of screaming. Talking about screaming. Look, before we go, and I hate talking about another show, but yesterday your boy told Kendrick Perkins he need to lose weight. He need to be on that time.
And I was lying.
Yeah, but I was like, all right, man. Like, okay, tell me, like, okay.
But you need to fix your hairline and go bald.
Yeah, or no. Tell me, like, yo, bro, like, I mean, you could probably say it off the air, like, Keith, man, your beard nappy is I don't know what, bro. Yo, like, I don't know, man. You need to shave that itch, right? And I'm like, cuz, like, what? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, to me, it's like, dang, ratings, boy, mean a lot. Muggs is calling people out left and right. Yeah. So, but it is what it is. But, good dude. But it is what it is.
I'm gonna have to Google that, man. I didn't see that.
Yeah, man. Then he told him, like, then he was like, yeah, I want to say hi to your wife. she you really like she really like took a step down or something, something like that. I'm like, whoa, like, it is what it is. I'm like, do you know he played in the league? All that money?
Hey, how Big Perk respond?
yeah, so it's crazy. But look, man, they picked up they made some interesting picks, right? I mean, here's the thing, like they picked up the Bona.
Yeah.
From he's originally from Nigeria. He has a great story. Originally from Nigeria, but moved to Turkey when he was 13. He was 6'7" at the age of 13.
Mm-hmm.
He was outside his mom's store. There was a local basketball player who saw him. Was like, "Hey man, you play basketball?" And the guy says, "Nah." And the guy is like, "Oh, okay." So the guy follows him to the store, meets the mom, says she wants to teach him how to play ball. That led to the mom and the kid moving to Turkey. The kids on the Turkish junior national team. And then all of a sudden, instead of turning, like, it's weird, like going to play pro because he was playing on a professional team. But instead of like going there to make the money to go remain in Europe, he comes to America, goes to prolific prep, becomes a McDonald's All-American.
Mm-hmm.
And now here he is now, right? So that's a great story. Now, 6'10", 245 pounds. He plays with a lot of energy. I understand that he has to work on his hands. That's what somebody told me. He has to work on his hands. But an elite shot blocker.
Mm-hmm.
He gets in the passing lanes. He does all the things. That soccer background is really working with him as far as his energy. So I like him. So then when you think about him and you think about McCann, they got, Justin Edwards is a pretty, pickup, and we'll talk more about him.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this Bona dude is pretty good. But he also, what he does is, unfortunately for Paul Reed, it kind of makes him a little bit expendable.
Yeah,
unless you know what I mean. If the guy can play, because he's listed as a power forward / center, but everybody I'm talking to is saying, nah, bro, he a center. He's a center. You know what I mean? He's like, like that 6'10" Alonzo Mourning mode. You know what I mean? I'm not comparing him to Alonzo, but Alonzo was
so
he was kind of like undersized, not 6'10", but the other guys are like 7 feet. And
he was just so jacked.
God, he was jacked. Yeah. They said, well, go ahead.
I mean, Zoe had that Tidewater thing. There's some special, from Lawrence Taylor to Sweet Pea Whitaker, to Michael Vick to Allen Iverson. Nothing but special athletes come out of that Tidewater area. But I digress.
They get boat race when they play teams from Philly, so believe that.
Yeah. But one thing about Adem Bona, man, I mean, number one, I'm gonna speak my personal biases. I'm glad they drafted a foreign player who has been through it, who has had to prove himself, and not some prima donna coming out of the AAU system, who gets all this hype and is turned into the best thing since sliced bread. Excuse me. So, now it looks like they have a guy who, one thing that frustrates the hell out of me is watching Joel Embiid and they run pick and roll, and it's going to be pick and pop over here. I want to see that pick and roll where they run it and somebody get to the rim and break somebody's head off, and maybe that's what this kid Bona can do. He's an incredible athlete. He's got a ridiculous wingspan. He's got a high move. Says it's 7'4".
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and he's got hops. So maybe this is the answer, and hopefully if he is, so hopefully Sixers will groom him and find out if indeed he does have that talent. And we'll see what happens with a guy like Justin Edwards. The one game I did see of his was the game where he went for 28, and I will watch Kentucky because I'm not a big fan of Cal, but Cal does his job. He gets guys to the NBA. Guys in college know that that's what he's there for, to get you to the NBA, and I guess that's why Justin went there. But so maybe he can come to Philadelphia, get that body in shape. It was clear to me that his body needed some conditioning, that it wasn't up to that elite level. He's got a beautiful jump shot. But you didn't see any of those things in college. You know, he kind of got lost in the sauce in Kentucky and was just another freshman. So, that being said, I'm a fan of his. He's a Philly kid, and I want to see him do well, and I would love to see him do well in his home team. But I mean, overall, I don't think they did badly in the draft. I really don't. Again, you know, I mean, people talk about the draft, and Mel Kiper has built a career out of turning everybody into a Hall of Famer on the day they get drafted, and then 3 years down the road they're out of the NFL. I don't want to be that guy. So, you know, we'll wait and we'll see. We'll be cautious and judicious and see what they turn into. But that's my take on the draft. My whole thing, the whole thing that I believe is that, okay, the draft is now over. You have to build with the men, the men who are you can add as free agents. Now is the time. Daryl Morey, get back home from that MIT Sloan Analytics. I'm kidding. I know he's not there right now, but get to work, man. You know, get to work like the hardworking garbage men and women in this city. Get to work and bring Philadelphia something, man. Stop running around here like some elite genius who doesn't have anything to show for.
Okay, tell us how you really feel.
Yeah.
Tell us how you really feel. I see
draft,
you moving.
Yeah, man, the draft is coming going, and I'm a little bit tired of hearing people. It sounds like free agents are using the 76ers.
Yeah, well, that's what they are. Some of them are. It's just fact. It's a fact. But
it's like Bill Withers should be playing in the background. Use me up.
Yeah, I was about to say which Bill Withers. Yeah, but look, man, we'll after this quick break, we'll come back and talk about, give a deep dive on Justin Edwards and what does it mean, the opportunity he has. You know, I'm a little sad for the kid, but at the same time, I'm happy for the kid. Yeah, so we're after this.
Man up.
Yeah,
Man up.
Yeah. After this quick break, we'll come back and talk about it. You know, here's the deal. Here's the deal, Mitch. Like when we talk about Justin, you know, I think that the thing that I think that this is something that could help save him. And what I mean is, it's kind of like when you go and you play you're from Philly, you go to Kentucky, you're the number one player in the country. At one point last year, in January 2023, he was the number one player in the country.
Mm-hmm.
He slid down to number 3. You go to a program like this, the Kentucky, and I don't know what happened, but I know that he didn't perform to the level that he was expected to perform to, right? Mm-hmm. So he goes there and he sees everything that he had is going away. Mm-hmm. He goes from being a can't miss lottery pick to a guy who's not even drafted.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes when you get into situations like that and you're a young man and you may say, okay, well, I'm going to sign a 2-way deal somewhere on the West Coast or somewhere like down south or wherever. It could come times where you can emotionally could become tough on you. It could be hard on you. It could do stuff like that. And you can go drift to the direction that you're not in a negative, and you can go a negative route way or negative situation. Me personally, I think being back home with people around him, they can give him some straight up conversations like, dude, you can't mess this up. Like, dude, you're here. You see where you came from.
Yep.
You see where you came from. You see where you can see where you got to go. He's going to have people in his ear all the time telling him, remember that grind you had. Remember how your mom had to work 2 jobs so you could pursue your dream and your goal. It's time to get back to basics. He can go to the high school, Imhotep Charter, talk to the coach, have those real serious conversations. You know, it's going to be a hard journey, but look, there are other guys who did the same thing. Like you know, there's guys from Philly who went the two-way route and ended up making it in this league, becoming legitimate NBA starters,
Yeah.
right? So I'm here to tell them, like Derrick Jones. Derrick Jones was a two-way guy at the Miami Heat. And I remember when he was there, his rookie year, this brother would be with there was a playoff game and he didn't even get to play in.
Right.
Because he was a two-way dude. You know, they not even a part of the active roster when the playoffs come. So I'm like, serious. I'm like, Dad, this is crazy. So then all of a sudden, fast forward to this year, he's starting for the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah. Playing for
You know, a legitimate. And then you take it back a couple of years ago, he was the NBA slam dunk champion.
Yeah.
So the thing is, he was in Miami doing that. But I think that the fact that this kid is here in Philly with everyone around him is going to help him. I do.
Yeah. Well, what he needs to do is coming back home. And I remember talking to Rasheed about it. Rasheed used to always tell me, man, I couldn't go back to Philly and play when I was a young boy. Couldn't go back to Philly and play. And the whole thing is, Justin needs to come back here and recognize quickly, who's really on his team and who's faking it. And once you figure that out, and the gentleman who groomed him will help him in that way. Get that body right, man. Get that body, bring it up, because he has skill. I mean, the jumper is buttery when it's falling, and it was buttery throughout his high school career. Just when he got to the NBA, when he got to the NBA, when he got to Kentucky, you know how it is, man. Everybody's an All-American there. And if you're going to play, you got to be hardcore and you got to be ready to play. So I think there's some positives and there's some negatives in coming home to Philly. I think from what I know of the Imhotep program and that whole circle, that they will surround him and they will take care of him.
Well, they're going to support him. I mean, dude, I'm going to tell you this. Like from when I covered high school, and, I haven't spoken to brother Andre. That's why everybody call him maybe in maybe 8 months or whatever, a little longer. But I'm telling you, dude, like that community, the way that they make everybody feel and welcomed and how they are there for them, it's something special, right?
Yeah,
really is.
I've heard that.
It's special. It's special, dude. Like, man, even when these guys go off the signing days, like I've never been to signing days like that before, ever, anywhere like that. It's like, dude, it's like a celebration. It's man, it's like, whoa, this stuff is crazy. Like, and I'm talking about dudes going D2, like, stuff like that. They just, it's great. And so, and then you're right, it can be tough because of the distractions, but I feel like in this particular situation, it's going to be a bonus because, I mean, I don't know. Like, we don't know what happened, but it's time for him to, and I'm not saying this and to be negative, but it's time for him to man up. And what I mean by that is it's time for him to put in that work and the grind and to know it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
You as good as he is, sometimes you take things for granted. Not to say that he did, but I'm just saying some players take things for granted and think everything's going to be easy. And now it's time for him to get back to doing the things that he did that made him one of the best players in the country.
Yeah, and I think it's going to help him. I mean, you go down to Kentucky, man. It's a rabid fan base. They want it now, and they know that their best players are coming there mostly to be one and dones. They know there's going to be a parade of 5 stars coming there. We got a year for you. We saw it with Derrick Rose and on and on and on, and that can be a bit much. But I do think that coming from where he comes from, he's got to want it all over again. And this time recognize that he's ready to be in the league. Now you're there. You got to stay there. But it requires you doing certain things. And listen, man, if he blows up and becomes a success story here in his hometown, he'll become a king.
Yeah.
He'll become a king, son.
You're right.
Yep. So.
But look, man, we want to thank y'all for listening. We want y'all to have a great day, and we'll be back Monday talking about free agency. For John, this is Keith. We want to say peace.
Daryl Morey.